The mind is a terrible thing to waste. Oh, yeah? Who says so? Whoever said it maybe didn't understand that the mind is already wasted and lives in a virtual wasteland. Maybe they did not understand that the mind is your greatest enemy and clever enough to hide that fact from you. Maybe the mind uses beliefs as tricks to get us to believe in a God that keeps us from knowing what truth is. Join us and see if we can discover the true nature of the mind and find out what it is really up to. This is Who Am I? Who am I?
Who am I?
Who? Our purpose is to awaken.
Who am I?
To awaken to absolute truth.
Am I?
Who am I?
Who? Our purpose is to awaken to absolute truth.
Absolute.
Absolute truth.
Our purpose is to awaken. Are they one and the same? Absolute truth. That's our purpose.
Who am I?
Hey, Lana, how you doing? Marilyn, all right. Hey, Harry, all right. How you doing? Yeah, okay. Now, let's see. So, do you want to lose your mind?
No.
I don't know about that. We want to see if that what good is it serving you? And we were getting into this the last time, okay? And I heard some of you say, we were getting deep. And, it's like, oh, yeah, who told you that? Your mind told you that. Or, I hear people sometimes say, Doc Carter, I just can't understand your show. I can't watch because, y'all just talk about stuff. Well, who told them that? Okay? If you think about it, what do you know outside of what your mind tells you? And this is what Harry was bringing up the last time. You have something called I. And this I thinks, okay? And you call it your mind, all right? And you identify totally with it. If you say, I think I'm a black person, you say, I think I'm a black person, or I am a black person. Well, what told you that? Okay? You were conditioned that. When Joan and I were growing up in Norman, Alabama, we were colored and Negroes. Okay? And then they slipped in black on us, and then they slipped in African American. Well, how did that come about? Well, somebody made it up. Okay? Somebody's mind made it up. All right? Or, you say you're a Christian or a Muslim or whatever. Then somebody told you that Jesus died for your sins if you're a Christian. And you accept it. Okay? But how do you know it's true? See, can the mind know what's true? Everybody says they got something that they call truth. All right? If you're religious, you have a religious belief. If you're a scientist, you say, I got the scientific method that tells me what's true. Or whatever. Or you just Leroy on the corner. You go, I'm Leroy on the corner. All right? And you call that truth. All right? But who told you that? Your mind did. And how do you know that your mind tells you the truth? Yeah, Dr. Street.
When you kept saying, who told you that? This was interesting. I just kind of want to interject this. In the church scene, when we were dealing with people that had really bad negative thoughts or anything, because in the church scene, you have to use some scripture to justify what you're saying, right? And I remember in the beginning, it's a story, an analogy, when Adam and Eve supposedly in the garden, and when God came to find them, and they said, we hid from you because we were naked. The first thing he said was, who told you that?
Right. Yeah, how do you know that? What's the source of that? How do you know your source is true? Now we're trying to get into something. Everybody has an authority, a source, all right? When you're a little kid, all right, you're told, your mom and dad to tell you, don't do this, don't do that, go to bed at this time, don't chew your food and talk at the same time or whatever. And they are there, you remember your parents telling you that, right? And they are your authorities, and you don't question them. All right? So there's this I that says, I have a source and an authority that I said I will not question. Well, why won't you? Who's there to say that you don't? You know, now if you say you have the truth, how do you know it's true? If you said the Bible's true, how do you know that? Yeah.
Well, Dr. Carter, I think that if you're searching or seeking the truth, you have to keep asking yourself, who am I? And who is the I? And of course, the mind is going to come into play because the mind is who we think we are as an I, because we all want to exist. Life is very fundamental. Life is about existence. So you have to ask yourself, who wants to exist? And we'll always say, I, right? So if I wants to exist, who am I? Who is this I that wants to exist? And we get the mind, and I kind of define the mind as memory and imagination. So it's a great storyteller. And so the I that I am, who identifies myself with the mind, is going to identify that whatever the story that the mind tells me is what I'm going to take to be the truth.
Right.
And is that really the truth?
Right. Yeah, for instance, your mind says that you're Leonard,
Right.
a black man from New York, okay? And you say, and your mom and daddy told you certain things, you know, and your mama said, don't eat your food and chew at the same, chew your food, and talk at the same time, or whatever, okay?
Right.
And you took this as that's the way it is, and that's the way it's supposed to be, all right? But as you were saying, the mind is a memory machine and an imagination machine. All right. How do you know that this is a piece of chalk? Well, and you had to go into your memory to say this is chalk. Okay. Or how do you know that Archibald is a man? You have to go into your memory and say, oh, man looks like yada, yada, yada. Okay. So you always coming out of your past. Now, if it's also imagination, then you can say, oh, I can imagine a unicorn. Okay. And you can say a unicorn looks like a horse with a, you know, that horn on the end. Well, you just imagine it. Or you can imagine something called a god. You can call it Buddha, you can call it Yahweh, you can call it, you know, Zeus, Apollo, but you are imagining it. But that's coming out of your mind. All right? But how do you know it is true? Well, you say, I know it. Well, who's this I that's saying that? Archibald and then
Is it coming out
Raphael.
of your mind or coming out of your conditioning, or is there a difference?
Well, your mind is a result of conditioning. Okay? Just like, you know, you were conditioned to, like for instance, no, I don't know, you were, what?
Well, they say you don't eat and chew.
Yeah.
And if you do, you go whack.
Yeah.
And your parents go whack you in the mouth, and then all of a sudden you. Right, I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, just, well, even something a little bit more abstract. I mean, for instance, you might say that Beyonce is a beautiful woman, right? But how do you know that? Well, you were conditioned what beauty is. All right. In another society, women who were 300 pounds in Somalia, I think, you know, that, like in Japanese society, one time the women had to, you know, make their feet, you know, really curve the toes, you know, and that was, or in certain cultures in Africa, the women would wear a lot of earrings on their earlobes and stuff, you know, but that's all, you know, a matter of what your society says, and that's, you know, you have in your memory, okay? But can you be this? See, does this have anything to do with memory?
No.
No. All right. So your mind can't know what this is. This and your human mind are incompatible. This is God.
Now.
Now.
No.
Okay. Why? Because you can't think in now. Your mind is always thinking, but it's based upon conditioning. What you've been taught. Your memory. Yeah,
So your
John.
mind always is operating in the past.
Yes, and projects it into the future.
Yeah.
Okay,
Projects.
like you know, growing up in Normal, you know, we were taught, you know, mom and daddy taught us a lot of things, and you can now think of concentrating school, right? Remember where the principal's office was?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Who was it? Adams.
Adams.
Yeah, Mr. Adams' office. We didn't want to go to the principal's office. Right. But that's you're always coming out of your past and projecting the future. Yeah,
Yes,
Rossio.
Dr. Carter, you say what is the source? Okay. As I remember, I've been in self-inquiry, searching for meaningful life, and I think through this inquiry is like college. For you to graduate, so you can start seeing more awareness within you. Now, and what I practice in method of that which exists that you can question yesterday and today. Well, yesterday is mean nothing today. It's mean that I am being born today with that self-inquiry, with that self-searching. And what I know is that when you question the observer and question that the mind is that the body is in the mind, the out-of-body experience that you actually observing and watching and questioning your belief on a daily basis, because forget about what yesterday, forget about what happened all this life. It is, in my practice, it's called self-reflection. It's reflecting and cleaning up and cleanser to bring you up to date with awareness. And not only that this morning I practice, but it needs to be practiced all day long.
Yeah, that which is observing, it can't be that which is the object of. See, the observer is separate from the object of observation. Okay, so that's why the question, who is this one that is watching, observing? Keep asking that. Now the source, like we said, what's religion meaning? Going to the source. It comes from the word religio, binding back to the source. This is the source. I am that I am. That's absolute truth. Now, why don't you find out who I is? Okay? If I is the source, and you can't leave I is always here. I am here now. That's absolute. And I can't leave it. Leonard.
I want to just say that what you just said is that now always exists. And that's what I is always being, now. Mind, again, is something that is observable. Thoughts, feelings, sensations, memories, imagination, they're all part of the mind. So they're all separate from the observer. And you just said, if you observe, or can the observer be seen, is where I is, the now. Because if you try to observe the observer, I've never found that observer to have any form.
Right. It's formless.
It's formless.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've always tried to understand, why would I listen to a mind that doesn't understand the formless?
Right.
Because it's always in the form
Right.
state.
That's great.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's why the mind is totally ignorant.
yeah.
I don't care if you have 40 PhDs from Harvard, 30 Nobel Prizes, or whatever. Okay? It's ignorant. Ignorant meaning to ignore, to not be aware of. The mind is not aware of what infinity is. I can say infinity. I can draw a little symbol and say infinity, but that's not infinity. Obviously not. Okay? So what do I know? Well, I know I exist, but what is that I, as Harry was asking in the last class, what is that I that can't be observed? Because if it's been observed, then there's something outside of it or separate from it that is saying that it is it. And there can't be anything outside of infinity. That's why God can't know a you. God can't know a Jesus or a Buddha or a Muhammad. It is infinite, and it is the I that is totally aware of existence and nothing but its existence. I think Marilyn Denball.
Then nothing but. That's all that I knows.
Yeah, I knows I.
I.
Yeah, but not like I am aware of, not like a preposition. That means two. Okay, see, Archibald or Einstein, I put you in the same category with Einstein, man. You know, I know about, there's a preposition in there, there's two. You know, but I am, that's why in the Bible, when, you know, supposedly Moses asked God to define himself, and supposedly God said, I am that I am. In other words, there's no object. There's no objective world. There's only the subject. Marilyn.
I want to say, in our human form, society teaches us to seek to set goals, and those goals are always physical, tangible things, not necessary goals for your spiritual side. So in that case, I'm aware of people who have released all of the worldly goods, everything. They just literally walk into the future, for lack of a better word, bare, but the clothes on their back. And in that process, they felt they found freedom, or they're not bound by the mind or the tangible things which become distractions. So in this process of dealing with the mind, do you think that requires a level of nakedness, for lack of a better word? So you're not bound by things and clothes, and we live in this world, but doesn't it require you to literally be like of a child naked? I guess that's
Well, yeah, the mind is always attaching itself to something. The main thing that attaches itself is to this, your body. Okay, an object. That's the first object. That I am somebody. Okay, but it has to have an attachment to my house, my clothes, my husband, my wife, my children, whatever. Okay, mine. All right. There's a subject and then there's an object, and I am attached to that object. And it can be something tangible, material, like a house or a car, or it could be an idea like my religion. Okay, I am a Christian. Okay, now that defines me. I'm being defined by, you know, some ideals and beliefs. Okay, but now I'm still attached to it. So to be naked, I think you're asking, can you be totally free, not attached? Okay, if you're
naked enough.
yeah, I don't mean yeah, you know.
Just for the viewers, we're not saying.
Hey, their minds went there. We know where their minds are, right? But yeah, I mean, in the sense that you're totally free, okay? And the mind doesn't want you to be free. That's the scariest thing, because God is freedom. What do I mean by God? The infinite. The infinite is totally free. What can confine it? There's no such thing as, you know, a boundary or prism for the infinite. Impossible. So freedom, God, infinity, love are all the same. All right? Not needing another. Not wanting another. Just totally being what it is. And that is freedom. And that is where the human mind doesn't want you to go, because it has to grasp something. Yeah, Dr. Street.
I just like to say, just when she was thinking of that, made me think about something that I wrote in my book, How to Live Off of Nothing. So when I describe the nothing, like you're saying, not naked as in without clothing, but free from attachments, and free from those attachments that determine our value system of living. So when you go into the I am, or stay in the I, and I like what he said in the last show, you go all the way to the extent of I, then you find zero. And that's the nothing we're speaking of, because that's where they all exist.
Yeah. See, the mind has to have this. Has to have a belief. I believe I'm a man. I believe I'm a black man. I believe I'm a Morris man. I believe. I believe I'm a Christian. I believe I'm a Muslim. I believe I'm a psychologist. See, you all heard a saying called seeing is believing. No. No. Believing is seeing. All right? You believe something and then you'll see it. All right? I believe that there are black men. I believe that white people are or whatever. I will see that. Okay? I will focus my attention to find out what I believe to support my belief system. That's what the mind would do. Yes. It would do that. Okay? So, to get without see, this keeps you from going to heaven. Beliefs. All right? Now, there ain't no going to heaven. All right? Because heaven is not a place. Heaven is awareness of perfect oneness, or God, if you want to call it. All right? And it's not, but see, the mind, again, you got to get clear how sneaky this mind is. I'm sure you all heard your grandmama or some good old sister in the church say, the devil is, sneaky. You got to watch out for Satan. You hear people say that, how many of you heard people say that, your grandmama or somebody,
Today.
The devil made me do it.
Yeah.
Which is
Your mind.
The devil made me do it.
The mind is the only devil there is. Why? No, what do I mean by that? What do you mean by devil? Okay? Devil is that which is in opposition, what we used to think of it, to God. All right? Well, what do you mean by God? All right? That which most people would say God is love. Okay? And they aren't talking about Smokey Robinson. All right? So when they say God is love, then you're saying that the devil is the opponent or opposite to love. All right? So you're saying that the mind, which thinks, all right? And not only does it thinks, it feels. And not only does it feels, it perceives. All right? Perceptions, emotions, thoughts, okay, make up the human mind. A belief is a thought. All right? And that is in opposition to infinity. Infinity is not a thought. Infinity just is. But then we have to put it into like a symbol like this or whatever. But you can't think infinity. They are day and night. All right? Think about infinity. We go, a long space. Space, go out past Mars, past Uranus, past Andromeda. That's not infinity. Okay? It's not endless space. All right? Then what is it? What is infinity?
Nothing.
And everything.
And everything.
Nothing and everything. Leonard.
I think sometimes the mind gets a bad rap too.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, but sometimes it really takes the mind to get us to this point where we want to question and ask ourselves these questions for self-inquiry. So in that sense, I think you can use the mind to get to that next level where you don't no longer need the mind.
Right.
But in the beginning, these are just concepts. These are part of the mind.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Right?
Right. We're just up here, jaw-jacking, as we used to say in Morehouse, We are here, it's nothing real is true what we're saying. But as long as you think that you are a body, all right, once you start off with that as a premise, then yes, you're caught in the mind, all right? Because God didn't think that he's a body. Notice I use the word even he.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just something, some men made it up, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, making God into a man, that, because it's projection again. The anthropomorphic God. Matter of fact, we don't even like the Eastern concepts where it's not impersonal God. Okay, we got to have God personified. He walks in the cool of the evening or something, and it's a he, of course, or whatever. But the point, though, is this mind that tells you that this is true. Yeah, you're starting off with, I am somebody. Okay? Let me start off there. And then, as Harry was saying in the last class, you keep questioning that. And then it looks like you're running on a wheel, a hamster on a wheel. Like, yeah, but now where do I go from here? Do you reach a point where the mind totally dissolves itself? Where it can, did Jesus or Buddha, let's assume that they were enlightened, okay? did they reach a point that they basically said, I'm not a body, but I'm not even a mind? You know, was Jesus, when he was on the cross, was he really just saying, not that I want to find out that I'm not a body, but maybe I want to find out that I'm not a mind? You know, that it's not the body that's, you know, because, I mean, he had raised Lazarus from the dead. Come on. All right. So he knew the body wasn't that big of a deal. All right. You know, just so they're going to put some nails in his hand. He knew that the body can produce endorphins and all that kind of stuff. All right. So it must have been something called, well, what is it? I got to get to this source. The source that is wreaking all this havoc. And that's the mind. I got to find out the devil. And if you don't find out what the devil is, meaning that unless you find out what projection is, you will never understand what God is. Impossible. Yeah, Dr. Street.
It's a Kickstarter where you said, do you think Jesus or Buddha and other spiritual masters went out of their mind? If so, should you? You want to answer?
Yeah, pull it back on you.
Well, when you went on, as you were describing this just now, I began to think of one particular story, and let's use the projection of the story. It said that Jesus died at Golgotha Hill. When we preached that story before, we dealt with Golgotha means the place of the skull. So we begin to say, and when you say principle-wise, that Jesus knew you must die to the mind, and that's why the projection was the Calvary on the hill of Golgotha, the place of the skull.
Yeah,
So yes, they had to go out of their mind.
yeah. Remember, you and I were talking about, wasn't in the Mayan culture,
Right.
where the leader of the tribe, they would cut his head off, and that was symbolizing that, you know, that you have to lose this head, this intellect, this thinking apparatus, you know, the beliefs, okay, that has to go. If you believe you're a Christian, you can't go to heaven. If you believe you are a Muslim, you can't go to heaven. Whatever that belief is, stops what is really there. It can't really stop it, but interferes. It's the as Paul said, you know, the glass darkly, and we have just gotten a signal to wind it up. Rafi, I saw you wanted, but we got the wind up signal. Okay. Wow. So anyway, we will stop here and begin to really go deeper into looking at this mechanism that you think is you, because it tells you it is you. Begin to turn the question around and see if that's true. See if you're more than your beliefs, more than your feelings, more than your senses. See if there's something else that is really rock solid for you. Find out who I am. Thank you.